Welcome back to the DCS SITREP. In this week's show, we get the saved mission feature. The KA-53 Black Shark has a working wiper, and we now have new missions for the Su-25 team. Let's dip into the newsletter this week following the mid-month patch from Eagle Dynamics, which implemented a large number of changes. The highlight was a quality of life feature long asked for from players wanting to be able to save missions mid-mission. The mission save state or state save is a new feature permitting you to create and fly scenarios, say the team, over several sessions, whilst preserving and carrying forward mission progress without the need for complex scripting. Mission save works by creating a new mission file at any point during the flight. The generated save mission carries over the date and time, all units, state, and locations, in addition to other mission state relevant parameters. The team said that they're releasing this feature as a work in progress to gather your feedback to help them refine and prioritize future improvements. They're also looking forward to requests from script creators. Now, I had theorized that this feature was likely also one needed for the dynamic campaign to work fluidly for people to be able to save it at any point during the course of their foray into the campaign, but in the forums regarding that particular thread, Big Nui clarified that actually that isn't correct. In fact, the DC, or the dynamic campaign, has been able to save itself from its very inception, so the development is independent of any needs relating to that particular project or subject, so that's really good news. Now, the team reminded us in a little bit more detail as to what is actually being saved in order for players to jump back into the fray as they left it. Making full identical save is actually quite a hard task, they said, if done in environments of sophisticated detail simulation. So to make something usable faster, they have opted for the approach of saving certain parameters that matter for mission theater. So here's the list of saved parameters with its nuances. So the time and date, which should be fairly obvious. Dead units, groups, and statics are removed in the saved. The position, speed, and waypoint state of groups of units that are saved, they will start at the same position where they were at the moment of save. Save cannot include waypoint advanced parameters for now. Units, groups, and statics that were activated or created with the script during the mission will also be present in state save. Spawn points and internal fuel state of player, client, unit groups saved and moved to air if you save the mission while en route. And saved mission, your spawn will be at the position where you left it in the air or on another airfield. Save process will place aircraft at the minimum altitude of 150 meters if they were flying lower at the moment of save. I presume that is because there's the potential for aircraft to crash into something once you pick off the mission again. So, player, client, and AI-controlled aircraft weapon state is saved. The nuance here is that, for now, multiple point racks like triple Mavericks, etc., will be considered used and spent and will be removed from the plane loadout in the save, even if at least one weapon on them is used. Partially used fuel tanks are not accounted for in save, as we don't have partially filled fuel tank options for aircraft loadout currently. Now, aircraft malfunctions are applied to the start of saved mission if there were any at the moment of the save. For this, aircraft need to have on-demand failures modeled, and best example will be the A-10C. Warehouse state is saved. All scripts and triggers are saved as they were in the start of the original mission. Saving process does not touch them. There can be many scenario variations for processing these in the save, but as of now, there's no clear best process logic for it. For API script authors, they can take it into account, and for triggers, you can remove not needed triggers manually in the mission editor if you think you don't need them in the next session. They'll be looking at feedback or to potentially adjust this in the future. So still lots of things in process there, which is to be expected. For servers, there will be a new GUI option which allows a .save file option, which the team is essentially saying is the same as a .mis file. However, the difference being is that the .save file functions as an automation process for running mission auto-save, as the dedicated server treats the .save file slightly differently. It can be auto-saved into the same file every time you stop the server or restart the mission if the dedicated auto.save files on the mission stop is activated. Launching the mission from the same mission list will allow you to continue from the saved state. They want to add a feature which allows you to save while the mission is running without creating new files. Right now, additional .save files are added, requiring you to sift through the one that you want effectively. So As I've said previously, this is a huge quality of life feature, long overdue for DCS. It's been asked for many, many years, and it's not going to carry over just yet for the campaigns at this time. That is the pay for downloadable campaigns. That may come in the future, I wonder. But for now, if you have experience in this area, go and give ED some feedback as to whether or not it works well, or whether or not there are other things that should be taken into account. It's not my area of expertise, as you can probably tell, but certainly not for servers. But I think overall, running missions and things that you've created, or working with missions in the game, it's a nice way of being able to break up your time more productively. In the past, you simply had to quit the mission, go to bed, and redo the whole thing the next day if you're short on time on a given evening. So again, it's a huge quality of life thing. So this is really, really exciting stuff. And again, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, in other DCS Core updates, the team reminded us that AI aircraft improvements include several changes to aircraft flight and formation behavior and helicopter attack patterns. Certain AI aircraft received changes to their loadouts, offering more accurate weapon support. AI ships and ground vehicles have received some improved effects, notably the addition of a lighter gray smoke to designate vehicle damage at, say, 50 to 25% of its hit points. This combination with the existing more pronounced smoke effects for vehicle damage, as in the near-death state of 25 to 0% hit points. Weapons updates include significant changes to the AIM-120 missile's fusing logic and conical proximity sensor pattern, something that we discussed previously. This will be pleasing for some people too. The R-24 missile has undergone a comprehensive overhaul covering aerodynamics, motor performance, warhead configuration, and guidance. Several surface-to-air and anti-ship missiles, such as the Hawk MIM-23, the KH-25 MPU, KH-22, and the MIM-72G on the Chaparral have received adjustments to their flight characteristics, drag profiles, and or guidance. They went on to say that core GUI and mission editor changes address longer mission load times or delays when occupying multiplayer slots have been implemented. Various interface issues such as the escape menu failing to appear under certain conditions, the F10 map zoom lock issue, and some dynamic spawn at FARP issues have also been resolved. The mission editor now provides better sound file handling, more icons in the draw tools, and new absolute mission time trigger types. All good news there. Other fixes and additions involve model and visual tweaks for multiple units, including adjustments to recoil effects, dust visibility, and collision models. Certain 3D missile models details have been updated, and they've also done some adjustments to the encyclopedia entries that have been expanded to include the SA5, S200 sight, and the updated AIM-9 Sidewinder information. An IR jammer issue on the Su-25T has also been corrected to ensure it only affects missiles in the tail aspect. A known issue remains where unusually large explosion craters can appear in rare instances. The development team is actively investigating and working on a fix for that. In the meantime, you may see the occasional big bada boom.
Okay, so if you look on your radar, if you bug or lock up the tanker, there will be like a cross symbol off to the right. Do you see that? That is the intercept queue. So it calculates the quickest intercept. If you put that in the center of your fire control radar screen for the left and right.
Now, module updates are always good news, and they went through a list of the DCS Eagle Dynamics modules, starting with the Viper. They've done some fixing here for the targeting pod, target track jitter issues that have been affecting precision strikes. That's been addressed. IR missile detection problems have been resolved, ensuring proper threat awareness before launch. Additionally, the CCIP, or continuously computed impact point bombing, aiming calculations have been corrected, improving ground attack accuracy. FA-18C, that has received fixes to the speed brake compensation system when using the extend button. The RAID antenna elevation displays now show correct information, and the anomalous drag properties associated with the BRU-41 weapon racks have been eliminated. Some important improvements to the AH-64D have been implemented. Multi-crew operations now benefit from enhanced FCR synchronization, while the position hold function no longer exhibits oscillation problems. George AI has received a comprehensive update with revised engagement ranges and burst intervals for more effective gun employment. Two long-standing issues where the wheels are sinking into the terrain and the no-fly zone desynchronization in multi-crew have also been addressed. Now, the KA-50 Black Shark 3 ABRIS map labels have been corrected. The Schwal targeting offset issues and mirror reflections during rainfall have also been fixed. And finally, the windshield wipers now do what they are supposed to do. They wipe. So good news there for those of you looking for that little quality of life improvement there in visual aspects of the rather fantastic helicopter. Now, the remastered F5E Tiger II features enhanced visual effects with improved afterburner visuals and more realistic cockpit shaping under high G maneuvers. For classic jet enthusiasts, they say here that the F-86 F-Sabre has received an important input fix, resolving a joystick assignment error that prevented proper VoIP control mapping, and they have restored the full functionality for that, which is good news. Flight training in the Yak 52 includes fixes to the wheel brake disengagement during hot starts and improved pneumatic starter parameters. The Flaming Cliffs 2024 module brings exciting new content with additional instant action missions in Afghanistan for the Su-25T. Visual enhancements include overwing vapor effects also for the Su-27 and the Su-33 respectively, adding some atmospheric realism. And then finally, the historical World War II collection sees the Mosquito FB Mark VI receiving Russian localization for its lessons, making this iconic aircraft's training materials accessible to more pilots around the world. As expected, other non-ED aircraft also received updates, including the Mirage F1 and the Avio jet. As we discussed recently too, Hippler is about to inject some new material into the F4E Phantom 2. They indicated recently that it may not make this week's patch, well, this past week's patch, which appears to be the case. So likely it'll be in the next patch. And last week, after I'd uploaded the previous SITREP, I saw that they had launched an announcement to say that the F4 Phantom 2 is now in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, similar to the F14 module, which is already over there. On that note, they advised that the F14 was being picked up as a virus file by Microsoft antivirus software or other software, which happens to various aircraft periodically. You will need to add DCS to potentially the exceptions list. You may need to restore the file if it's been isolated by your virus software, and or you may need to run a DCS repair as well. As I said, this is a periodic issue with dynamic link library files that are in the game. It's sort of an overarching occasional issue with DCS World rather than a specific issue with Hippler's products. I want to clarify that. It's not exclusive to anything that Hippler is doing. Those DLL files or dynamic link library files are potentially able to be hacked to inject malicious code to do with the way that stuff boots up in Microsoft, essentially. So it can create, or is used to create malicious code under a fake DLL, so to speak. So when there's been updates and stuff like that, occasionally the virus software gets a little finicky and says, wait a minute, that looks suspicious, and I'm going to isolate it or remove it from the files list and put it into isolation, and then all of your aircraft attached to that particular file get pushed out of the game, so to speak. So you have to, like I said before, put it back in an exceptions list or run a repair of some kind. So just a heads up there. Now, lastly, in the newsletter, Edie plugged some new campaigns available to us. Pretty exciting. The first one is the Mosquito FB4 Freeman's Folly campaign. This is by Sunts Simulation. It's accessible for novices and veteran Mosquito pilots alike. Apparently, the Freeman's Folly doesn't require the World War II asset pack either, which is good news for those of you that don't own it. And it delivers 16 total missions, brimming with authentic details, enhanced by nearly 1,000 voiceovers, images, and interactive ground crew sequences. Each mission features historically accurate flight plans via the F10 map depictions, as well as unique in-flight GEEH and AI Mark 8 radar oscilloscopes. Ooh, tricky one to say, that one. Watch the unique explanation video and prepare to embark on a richly detailed World War II adventure that captures the spirit of the Mosquito and its operations with compelling storytelling and historically informed gameplay. One heck of an aircraft, and what little I've read on it, some of those missions were absolutely amazing. So it sounds like a pretty interesting campaign. Maybe something worth checking out if you're interested in getting to grips with the Mosquito and what it was capable of doing. Next up, they plugged the new FA-18C campaign by Baltic Dragon, the Rampages campaign, from realistic departure and recovery protocols to fuel management, air-to-air refueling, and a host of mission types such as CAS, ECAS, and DEED. The Rampages campaign immerses you in carrier operations with detailed briefings, kneeboards, and voice-acted dialogue. We have 3,000 lines of chatter, original soundtrack, and multiple possible endings, promising over 50 hours of replayable content. Purchases also support donations for Syrian war refugees. So a cool double up there from Baltic Dragon. It's available in the latest DCS update, and of course that is also a purchasable product in the DCS store right now. So go check it out if you're interested. It actually is one that I might have a look at. So I have so many campaigns I haven't finished yet either. So there's only so many hours in a day, unfortunately.
Some techniques for AR. A lot of people will bring up the bingo page, so that's list and queue on the UFC, and then they'll display that in the HUD using the DED switch on the right console.
Well, that brings us to the end of another DCS SITREP. I hope you're all keeping well and that this video finds you well wherever you happen to be tuning in from. We will do our best here to keep you up to date with the latest news and information and a little bit of analysis where we can on DCS World, which is progressing nicely, I must say. A lot of these changes are very, very beneficial. It looks like we're going to be getting a Cold War map here pretty shortly from Outrun Media. There was just a flurry of videos last week, as I showcased this week as well, where they were flying around various portions of that map. So usually when developers do that, they're kind of hinting we're pretty much ready to go here. So we'll see if the trigger gets pulled in the next week or so. Probably part of another patch. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see what the peeps behind the scenes at ED decide is appropriate to manage the release of that. Like I said previously, the LA7 looks like it's also very close as well. The flight model has been approved, if I recall correctly, from Eagle Dynamics, so that's waiting in the wings. We're waiting too for several other things that are in the pipeline, namely the MiG-23, which I think Wags has said was probably going to come later at the, not the MiG-23, excuse me, the MiG-29A, which is coming through at the end of the year here. So we've still got quite a few things to look forward to, and of course, as you can tell, the team are very busy this year doing a lot of things that they have been promising for a while, like that safe game feature and various other fixes, the improvements to AI, so on and so forth. Lots of improvements here benefiting a large number of players across different platforms too, not just single player but also multiplayer as well. So we'll see how things progress. Let me know what you think of any of the topics that we discussed today, and we'll see you next time on the DCS SITREP.
Crack upon the back to stop closure.
Contact.
There you go.